what is Conversations with Coryelle all about? It's a weekly series on a wide variety of topics, from the metaphysical to the philosophical, from the erotic to the exotic, from the mystical to the spiritual. It's all about showing you how to enhance your life. And I'll also be showing you ways on how you can enhance your animals' lives too. I'll be joined by host Kevin McDonald. I'm happy to have you here. Now let's have a conversation.
Well, hello, my dear. How are you today? It's Coryelle Kramer. I see that face. I know that person. That's her right over there. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. You know what I really like about it? Well, first of all, this is a weekly series that we're doing, and we'll be doing this every week at noon on Tuesdays, and from noon until we decide we're done, which can be I don't know, it could be any time. And so every Tuesdays at noon, and you can see us on Facebook and YouTube for Coryell Kramer, and also my Facebook and my YouTube on My Independence Report. So this is the latest in technology that we are learning and doing stuff. So that's really cool. So Coryell, what I really like about what we're doing and what we're talking about is that you during the week get a download from somewhere and you make a decision as to what we're going to talk about and how you want to do it. So you had an epiphany. So what's your epiphany for this week?
My epiphany for this week that came through was talking about ego versus humility.
Aha.
Mm-hmm. I think that ego, and what I'm going to say is probably going to surprise a lot of people, or the people that know me, probably not so much. But I think ego has become, in my opinion, the boogeyman. You know, watch out, ego's going to get you. You know, be good, ego's going to get you. And it's like, I think that what really needs to be said is we need to look at humility and what that means and what ego means. Okay. I think, and I'm going to say this a lot over this show, I think it's not so much that something is good or bad, it's what you do with it that makes it either good or not so good. Okay. I think and I was thinking about this while I was getting ready for the show. I was thinking about this, and it's very interesting. I realized that as I was thinking about humility is not an emotion. It's not a part of you. Humility is a learned behavior. That's what I believe anyway. I believe humility, we're taught be good, be nice, don't be, too loud, don't be too much. Don't think too highly of yourself. That's ego.
Oh no, you can't do that. Don't be
God,
conceited.
no. Oh God, no. You can't think highly of yourself. What are you, crazy? So then what that does is that, in my opinion, feeds self-hatred, and it feeds self-doubt, and it feeds it feeds your therapist, because it's going to keep you in therapy for a while. Okay. My mom told me not to be too good. My mom told me, or not to be too bad. My mom told me to be a nice girl or a nice boy or a good girl or a good boy, or not to be too much. Tone yourself down a little bit. Tone yourself down. And then we spend the rest of our lives, we get into therapy, and we spend the rest of our lives trying to tone ourselves back up.
Or like my mother used to do when we were kids, which was if we did something well, she would point out what we didn't do as well in that, so that we wouldn't, quote unquote, get a big head.
Get a big head, please.
But you have to be so, and that statement in itself can take years to unwind.
That's right. And humility is a learned behavior. We're taught it. Okay. Ego is a part of who we are. It's our presence. It's the great I am. It's your self-importance. It's your self-worth. It's tied to your self-importance and self-worth. And we're so busy, being told that we got to tone it down, we got to shut it down, we've got to push it down. And the only thing that does is it makes us crazy, because then we're alcoholism, drug abuse, self-mutilation, shame. Humility is learned, just like shame and guilt is learned. Okay. We don't come into this world having shame and guilt. Okay. Little kids are running around naked. They don't give a shit. Okay. Excuse my French, but we don't care. I mean, I ran around naked for the first like 9 years of my life, because my mom was cool with it and she was fine with it and it was okay with it. It wasn't until, that I got shamed by it, by somebody else that was with my mom at the time, that, I said, what am I doing wrong? But it's a learned behavior. And just like it takes a while to learn it, it takes a while to unlearn it. So, start now. The kids, look at kids. Okay. Kids are like freaking amazing. Kids are like, I'm great. I'm awesome. I'm Superman. I'm Supergirl. I'm fantastic. Ta-da! Yeah. How about us walking into a room and saying, ta-da!
I'm here, everybody.
I'm here. Just like everybody else, I'm here now. We're all together now. Let's party and have some fun, But I don't know. It's one of the things that I really started thinking very deeply about, because I realized, especially when I was really in the metaphysical world, when I was just doing psychic readings and animal communication, it's a big thing there, just like, because it's also dealing with spirituality, and wherever you got spirituality, you got people telling you got to tone yourself down, not be too much, stay humble. Now, so on the other end of the spectrum, you got humble and you got humility. Okay. I truly believe that, I truly believe that if we would just own how amazing, unique, out of this world, cool we are and what we do, that there is absolutely nobody else on the planet like you. Nobody else on the planet. Even if you were a twin, okay? Even if you're a biological twin, they've got different personalities. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you are like a snowflake, to be want of a better way of saying corniness. Okay. You are a snowflake. There is no other Kevin McDonald in the world.
Thank God.
Why don't we own that?
We should. Let me give you just a real quick example from my past. When I went to work for a Mexican restaurant, look at me. I look like I should work in a Mexican restaurant, but I went to work there, and the other assistant manager saddled up to me on my first day, and he said, "Well, do you like being an assistant manager?" I said, "Well, it's fine. Yeah." He said, "Do you ever want to get your own store?" I said, "Well, that's the goal, isn't it?" And he said, "Well, there are 5 restaurants in our little group here, and there are 14 guys ahead of you. So you can plan on being an assistant manager for the rest of your life," basically, is what he said. Now, because my ego was a little bit more evolved at that, I was like, I don't think so. And as it turned out, I was the next guy to get promoted. Mm-hmm. I jumped over those guys because I didn't buy into the bullshit. Excuse the expression. I didn't buy into it because it wasn't true. I didn't accept it as true. And that's kind of what you're saying, isn't it?
It is. And actually, you brought up a really, really good point. I think that I believe in what's called the law of attraction. And the law of attraction basically is, in a nutshell, a very small nutshell for a very big subject. Your thoughts create your life. So if you believe it, you can achieve it. All right. So if you are spending so much time trying to keep yourself humble and keep yourself small and keep yourself, not seeing your amazingness, then the things that you want to achieve for your amazingness become almost unobtainable. because you're not vibrating it. You got to be vibrating at the same level at it, or it's not going to be manifesting for you. You got to allow it in. But if you're constantly saying, oh, I got to stay humble, I got to stay humble. And it's like, you know something? It's like, I don't want to be arrogant. You know something? It's like, it's again, it's like, it's what you do with it. Now, arrogance or ego can turn into hubris. And that's when you think you're the best, you're the only, everybody else's opinion is crap. Okay. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying own yourself and own what you bring to this world and own your uniqueness and your awesomeness. Okay. And really see and say, what I am is amazing. I am amazing. And believe that because it is true. You are a gift from the universe. But if you keep saying, oh, it's not me, it's God, it's not me, I'm just a channeler, I'm not really doing anything, nobody can do it like you can. Own that shit. I'm sorry. I'm tired of people telling me, well, you got to keep your ego in check. It's like, no, my ego is out there. I am not hubris, though. I own what I am. When I didn't own who I was and what I brought to this world, you know what that got me?
No.
Bulimia, anorexia, alcoholism, and drug abuse. That's what it got me.
Well, the thing about you is you could not do what you do if you were overly humble. I'll give you an example. I know some people that are psychics and this one particular gal will say, well, I really think this about a particular subject, and then she'll say, but that's just me, and it could be. It's like if you add in those lines of it might not be true, and then you're not being true to who you are, because you open when you commit to saying something to somebody, and they're asking your opinion, and you're saying, well, let me read into it and see what I think, and then you say, yeah, but I could be wrong. Then you just destroy the entire concept, and you're also defeating yourself at the same time, right?
Yeah. You got to have some kind of confidence in yourself. I mean, we all have seen, and we probably all have experienced being the person that has zero confidence.
Oh, yes.
When I was drinking and drugging, and I'm very open about this, when I was drinking and drugging years and years ago, okay, I used to say this when I first got into the program of AA. I used to say low self-esteem was something I aspired to. I had no esteem. I thought I was a piece of crap on the bottom of somebody's keds, that was, those used to be what we used to call the all stars. That somebody threw away in the garbage.
Exactly, and I've got a point to make here, but I want to make another point, and that is this: if you're listening, you can click on the comment section, and whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, and you can comment to what we're talking about, and you can get involved in the conversation. We'd love to hear from you, and we will read the things that you say on the air, and if you have a question, we'll be happy to answer it. But it's like, you're right. You did not grow up believing that you were worthless. Somebody told you that, and it's a story that you ended up believing because you respected the person that told you that. It was either an authority figure, or it was a close friend, or somebody you aspired to want to have as a close friend. Mm-hmm. And they said some crap about you or to you, that you're not good at this, or you can't do that. Yeah. And so that's kind of the story that you were told, not who you are.
Exactly.
So isn't getting ego about rediscovering who you really are?
It is, and it's a part of you for a reason. So if you go back to the old adage that God or the universe doesn't make junk, there is no mistakes, okay, within you. You are you're here, and you got stuff for a reason. You got anger and rage. You got sadness. You got fear, okay, for a reason. You've got you've got the ego, you got the id, and that's a part of you. It's you got the lizard brain that comes up when you're in fight or flight. All these things can be judged as being bad, but they're also things that, when used properly, can actually enhance your life. You know, you can't turn off rage. It's a part of you. Yes, it's an emotion, but anger is a part of you. You get angry, but then it's what you do with it. And it's also, why are you getting angry? Maybe examine that part of yourself and then see if it's something that's true or something that's coming from a mindset as opposed to a truth. So the ego, I believe, is a God-given part of you, and it's something that we are so listening to other people's BS about how we need to get rid of it. We need to be careful of it. We need to, make sure it doesn't blow out of proportion to a certain extent. Yeah, but the ego is also there. And if you treat it nicely, if you pet it nice, if you water it, feed it, give it a little bit of a prompt. Yeah, yeah, I do love myself and I do think I'm amazing. And that feeds the ego a little bit, but that's okay because you're growing a garden. You're not, it's about a garden. It's not about just, a plot of 2 by 2 and just, hoping that growth. You want to grow a garden of ego in a beautiful way that has beautiful different kinds of flowers in it. And I'm going down a floral tangent here, but you want to nurture it. You want to give it something that's nice because it's a part of you for a reason. It's
Yeah,
not a mistake. God doesn't make mistakes. The universe doesn't do mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that. So then that means that I have this ego and it's part of me. And I need to love it and appreciate it.
absolutely. Now, when you are in your day-to-day existence and day-to-day life, how do you make sure that you keep your ego in check, or do you need to keep your ego in check?
I think it's important. I think if you feel into it, okay, when it's how do I say it? When it feels right, not because you're doing it because you really don't believe in yourself, but you choose words that really resonate with you. Build up to it a little bit, um, build up to it, and you can't go from thinking you're a pile of crap to saying I'm the most awesome person in the world, because then you start acting out when you get angry when people don't see that. You see the difference? You
Yep.
start getting If you start caring about what other people think, then the ego becomes almost on the bordering of hubris, because you're doing it because you want other people to think you're awesome, not because you truly believe you're awesome. I own who I am. I own what I do. Now, that might make some people uncomfortable, and that's okay. Just don't friend me on Facebook, don't find me on Facebook, and definitely don't contact me through my website, because I'm not the person for you. But I own it. I own who I am. I own my uniqueness. I own it. I love it. I appreciate it. And some days it's more cranked up than others, and other days it's a little bit more toned down, but that's okay. I still own it, because I see that what I am bringing to this world, the animal blueprints, the blueprints for people, the helping people turn into their sexuality through their intuition, helping people get closer to their animals, downloading massive amounts of information about different chakra touches that immediately help your animal to feel better and to heal emotional problems that have been going on for months, years, whatever. This is amazing stuff. And I own it because I know that I can't bring it. Nobody else can bring it to the world like I can. It doesn't make me better than anybody else. It makes me different. It makes me unique. And because of that, it makes me awesome.
Well, in my humble opinion, you are awesome anyway. But when you are when you're gifted with a purpose and you understand that purpose,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have a measure of ego, you will never achieve the greatness that the universe has in mind for you.
Yep.
Because you can be way too humble and say, I would love to do this, but I'm just not good about it, or I'm not good at it, or I'm scared of it, and I can't do it, or I'm just not. If you don't feel confident in yourself enough, all great athletes do exactly what you're talking about. They have a vision. And by the way, Kimberly says hello, and she says a lily versus a Venus flytrap. I love that, because you've got to be, if you are going to be um, confident in yourself and to do things that are out of the box, that only you can do. And I hate to use myself as an example, but there are some things that other people just don't do as well as I do,
There you go.
especially on the radio. With, for some reason, I have this voice that people like, and is soothing, and all that kind of crap. But also, if I didn't have a bit of an ego to get out here and do this, I don't weigh 150 pounds. I'm not built like Superman, and stuff like that. I'm just a normal guy, and stuff. But I love what I do. If I didn't have a little bit of ego about it, I couldn't do it. And just like you, when somebody calls you and says, "Are you any good?" What are you going to say?
Yeah, you better believe it. You want the best, you'll get the best. Okay, you get stuff that nobody else is doing in this world the way I am doing. Nobody else is working with animal blueprints. Nobody even knows about them. How, and even if they do, even if they take a little bit of it from the blueprints for people and trying to, they're doing it the way they can do it. They're not doing it the way I'm doing it, because I'm getting massive downloads on how to connect to your animal and how to bring your relationship closer to them, how to heal them. I am bringing stuff that nobody else is bringing to the table. So what do I do with that? Do I just say, "Oh, shucks, it's not that important"? Hell yeah, it's important. Hell yes, it's important. This is a gift. What we do, everybody, is a gift from the universe. So what are you going to do? Try to return the gift? It's not important. It's not really that important. It's not really just me. It's not that much. It's just a little something, something. Look, I might get an email from somebody about this, or a Facebook post or something, but I will guarantee you that somewhere in the body of the Dalai Lama, there is ego, because he's confident. You can't be confident and not have it. That's part of your ego. That's part of the garden of the ego, is confidence. Confidence in, I don't want to go to somebody who's like, "I don't know if I could do this. I'm not really sure if I can help you and your animal, but pay me money and here we go. Let's cross our fingers." I don't want somebody like that. I want somebody in my life who, I don't go to practitioners who are like, "I don't know. Let's see what happens. I'm going to be humble. It's not really me. I'm just a channel. I'm really nobody important." Oh, please. No, you're not for me. I want somebody who owns what they do, because when they own what they do, they believe in what they do, they have confidence in what they do, and you are going to get the results that you want, and even more so than you're expecting. So
I don't know. I couldn't agree with you more, my dear, because it's, whatever you choose to do. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. I lost it for a moment, and then I got it back. It's pretty amazing. A lot of us, I would say most of us, the things that we just innately, honestly, and easily do well, we tend to downplay.
Yep.
What that means to society and what that means to other people, because it's like, "Oh geez, everybody can do this, it's not a big deal, I should be," and stuff. That's bullshit. You can't you have to own, as you say, you have to own your shit. And that's one of them. Is, if you are innately good at something, God gave you that gift to use for the betterment of mankind, in my opinion.
Hmm. Absolutely. And like I was saying before, I'm sure there's somewhere in the body of the Dalai Lama that there's confidence. And when you lead to the confidence, to the end of the confidence, you got to get to the garden of the ego because that's where it grows. Okay. And then the same thing with Jesus Christ. You think Jesus Christ was like, well, I don't know. I'll try with the fishes and loaves, man. I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot, but I'm not really sure. Let's hope and pray to my Father. He was like, no, I'm standing on this rock and I am going to feed all of you people. And here we go, because I have belief in myself.
And when he taught, he wasn't like, well, it's if you think this will work out for you, then this is what I'll tell you. He was like, no, kids, this is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have confidence. You have to have ego enough to be able to say when you know that you're right. Then I'm not saying that you're going to make stuff up, but when you know and you're grounded and you've got a good foundation and you know it's the truth and
Mm-hmm.
you're scared to speak it, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where you get that's where we're you know we're just so we're we're not on. I don't even know how to say it. It gets me so I want to help people as much as I possibly can. But I can't help you unless you want to help yourself. I really can't. Okay. I'm not a miracle worker. Okay. I can't go against free will. Nobody can. But, but there's something so cool when somebody really owns who they are. They have the confidence is. There's a saying that I made up and I love it. It's true. Confidence is sexy as fuck. It's sexy.
Let me
It's
write that down.
again, it's not hubris. Hubris is not sexy. Hubris is pathetic. Okay, it's somebody who's got such an inflated ego that they think that they got them script. And I'm not saying anybody in general. Please do not think this is political. It's not political. I am not a political person.
Nope, she's
I'm
not.
not. But I'm just saying, we all know the person. Usually it's the bully, okay, who doesn't have any confidence in themselves, really and truly, and has got to kick the shit out of every other kid on the schoolyard because he doesn't feel or she doesn't feel like she's being appreciated, and nobody sees their confidence. So in order to that for them to build up, a bully is just somebody who in order has no confidence, and in order for them to build up the confidence, they take it out on the people, which makes them feel better and feel more confident because they have control over that person. That's all a bully is. All right, basically. All right. So it stems from a place of inflated ego. It stems from a place of I am important. I am me. I am somebody who is, it's my way or the highway. I am the most important person in the room, and I'm not saying that. My way of thinking is my religion is the way that it is, and that's all that there is. It's my way or the highway, and I'm not saying that. I am saying, and I will never say that. Because I think that's being an asshole. you know? It is. It's like, wait a minute, there's thousands of religions, and you're trying to tell me yours is the best? Why don't you do this? Why don't you try what I do? Okay, why don't you take a little bit of this and a little bit? Oh, here goes another show. Why don't you take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this and a little bit of that and dash of this and maybe a slap of that and make your own spirituality?
about 15, 20 years ago, when I started spouting some of this stuff to my secular religious friends that are very much into dogma and what goes on with, and they looked at me and said, "What the hell are you doing? You trying to create your own religion?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I'm just doing what feels right for me. Doesn't have to be right for you. Doesn't matter. But for me, this is what feels right and what I believe. And in my communication with God, this is what I've been told."
Mm-hmm.
So, and it can be different for you. It doesn't matter. It's okay. I wanted to ask you another question though, which was, you talked about bullies. I think it's fair to say that either you've been a bully or you've been bullied, and most of us have been both at one time or another. How and sometimes when you've been bullied, you tend to take it on as the truth.
Mm.
How do you encourage people to get past what the stories that of the past have been told to you, and to get to where you can really grow and be who you really are, and get past the bullying and past all the bad things that have been said to you?
I think for me personally, one of the transformative things that happened to me was just understanding that it's all just experiences. Taking the big fat hairy deal out of it all. Yeah, okay, was I abused when I was a kid? Yep. Do I have it define me? Nope. Does it make me the person I am today? Part of it. And that's okay. It's okay. And I love that. And if I took that part out of me, now this is where it took me a lot of years to get to this point of view. Okay. I did a lot of soul searching. I did a lot of personal work on myself. I did a lot of I did a lot of gaining my spirituality, knocking down the foundations of what I thought was important and what I thought was bedrock, and seeing that it was all just made out of cardboard and duct tape because it was somebody else's foundation. So I had to really start from the bottom up and work my way up. And when I did, when I got to the pinnacle was was when I really realized, and this was what kicked my butt. It's kind of like a Jenga. Okay, so think of the Jenga with all the pieces of wood. If you take a piece out and you take the wrong piece out, the whole thing tumbles down. You take a piece out. So if I took out that abuse, if I took that out, it would change who I am. And here's where it kicked my ass in my mind. I like who I am. So then that means I need to be grateful for what happened to me.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, it took me a long time. This did not happen overnight. Now, here's the difference. There's a difference between forgiveness, and there's a difference between forgiveness and accept and what was the word I wanted to say? Oh my God, I lost the word. Forgiveness and making excuses for that person. So the forgiveness is about truly letting it go, understanding that it happened, not saying that it didn't happen, not saying that it wasn't wrong or right. Okay, it happened. All right. Now, what am I going to do about it? Am I going to stick with this? Am I going to sit on this? Am I going to keep on swirling that pot of abuse and alcoholism and drug abuse and bulimia and anorexia? Am I going to keep on saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a sick person. I'm only, I'm constantly trying to get better." No, I'm better. I've healed that. Okay, I'm not staying in that. Okay, so it's I think the first thing that you have to really do is you have to understand that all these pieces, good, bad, and the interesting, all of them came into your life and made you who you are today. And then you got to get to the next plateau of self-love and understanding that I really love myself. And if I take that piece out, I change everything. And I don't want to take that piece out. So it means I have to appreciate that piece for being a part of me, not excusing the behavior that caused that piece in the first place.
I couldn't agree more, and that, I believe, is one of the major challenges that we have in life, and that is to overcome and to let those things go and become your best self and not get stuck. I know lots and lots of people. My mother-in-law was one. And by the way, M. Kathy says Coryelle is terrific. It has helped me and my family for years, and that's just a validation of who you are, young lady. And but it's like my mother-in-law spent her whole life because she was adopted, and it affected her entire life because she never was willing to get over it because she kept saying my birth mother didn't love me. Her
Mm.
birth mother was 16 years old in 1930, and she got pregnant. What do you do if you're 16 in 1930?
Mhm.
So she can't even rationalize why she was feeling that way. But
Yeah.
a lot of us do that, and we can't get over. We think about the story of what happened to us, and we can't get rid of the story so that we can move forward, and that ends up validating what we believe about ourselves, which isn't true to begin with. Drives me crazy.
Mhm. Yep. I just want to say, Kathy, love you. Love to you and the pups and to Hope. Kathy was actually, her dog was the first animal I ever did shadow work on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we should do a show on shadow work because that's very interesting. I'm going to put that on the list. Shadow. Our
Well,
list is growing, man. It's growing. Every single time we talk, there's another thing that comes up, and we're like, oh my God, we got to make a show. So,
there's so much that, and and you're right. It is like Jenga because you have built a strong foundation based upon all of the experiences, both good and bad, that you've endured and have been subjected to your entire life. They don't define you; you define them, and so you are able to and you're able to be empathetic. You're able to understand people and understand where they're coming from, and but you can also help people in a unique and valuable way. And
yeah.
I'm not just kissing up because I'm kissing up. I truly believe that, and I think Kathy would agree with that,
I,
and Kimberly probably also.
I think that, I will absolutely, am I empathetic with people? Absolutely. Am I empathetic? But I'm not. There used to be a saying in AA, and at first, when I first heard it, I thought it was really like kind of like mean. But I have taken it, and it's true. And I say it with love. I got no tissues for your issues. I don't. You know, I will sit with you absolutely and hold your hand and help you and uplift you. That's what being an uplifter is all about. I consider myself an uplifter. I uplift you. That's what one of the things I do in my work. Okay? I will uplift you, but I'm not holding you up. You
You
got to
can't.
got to get up. You got to get up. I understand sometimes we got to fall. Look, I didn't get into AA until I hit rock bottom, and I'm not in AA anymore. Which again, hey, that might be a show. But 12 steps, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that
Uh,
will be a
but
show.
the thing of it is that I'm not in AA anymore. But I would never change that for anything. I would never change my time. My time in AA gave me the foundation. But it's the truth. It's like I will hold your hand. I will help you as much as I possibly can. But you got to reach out for my hand. You got to reach out for it and grab it because I'm not pulling you out of the quicksand. I can't, not unless you help me because you're dead weight. That means if you can't help yourself, there's some people that need to go down the path, like I was saying before with AA. I hit rock bottom, my own rock bottom. It wasn't, mine have been somebody's rock bottom wasn't as low as high as mine, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It was my rock bottom. So I hit rock bottom. But and sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to just, hit it before you can bounce back up. But I am not going to do the work for you. I've done my own work. I've done my work. I'm still doing my work. Okay. I'm not going to do your work too. And I'm not going to sit with you in your crap.
Well, when I said empathetic, and then you said, "Well, I'm empathetic," but what I came to my mind was, "You're empathetic, yes, but you're not going to put up with anybody. You're not going to put up with their crap if they're not." And what I really love about you is when you do your intake interviews,
Mm-hmm.
And part of the intake interview is, all right, I'll work with you and we can put this together for your animal or for yourself, the erotic blueprints or the animal blueprints, but there's homework. There's things that I expect you to do. And if
Mm-hmm.
you don't do them,
Don't do it.
you're violating the agreement that we're working together to fix this.
That's right.
And so you hold people accountable.
Yeah. And
And,
even in the intake form, the one question on my intake form for both people and for animals, whether I'm working with them with their intuition and their sexuality, or I'm working with their animals and them, one of the questions is, I need to know, are you ready to dedicate your time, okay, your and your money? Because this is not going to be cheap. I'm not going to be cheap. I'm not cheap, okay? I'm not. Okay, it's just you want to put in the work, but that's because you get a lot of bang for your buck. Okay, I am very good at what I do, but if you don't answer that question on the intake form, I don't care how you answer it, yes or no, either way, there's no judgment. But if you don't answer that question, that tells me right off the bat no. That tells me, and then I'm just like, no, I'm not going to be working. If you can't answer that question now, you're not going to be answering that question later on. And the one thing that I want to talk about is what you talked about was the story, changing the story. Yes, it's your story. You can always change it. And Rick's on. Hi, Rick. So it's the story. And it doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that there's not awful things in there. There doesn't mean that there's not hard, challenging things in there. But it's a story. It's like, you know what I learned that from? I learned that things don't define you. I learned that from the animals.
mm,
I really, really did. There's a episode I did on abuse, and animals do not hold their abuse to them. We do. We do. We introduce our animals like this. Well, this is Bobo. Bobo was abused. Bobo was kicked and he was beaten and he was locked in a broom closet for the first 15 years of his life. Fed under the door. It's like, why your animal is like, why do you keep telling this story over and over and over again? Every single person you tell it to. Because every single person you tell it to, you're sending me these images. Do you do that to your kid? This is my kid. This is Ashley. Ashley was abused. No, of course not. You want Ashley to move on. You want
right.
your animal to move on, but you think that it makes them, like more, pathetic or more sympathetic. And it doesn't. It holds them in the space where they're just like, if they could roll their eyes, they'd be like, I love my mom. I love my dad. I swear to God I do. But if they tell that story one more time, I swear to God, I'm peeing in the corner. It's changing the story. I lived in Germany and I was married to a German man for a long time. And I lived in Germany for a space of time. But before that, we were going back and forth. I love the German people. I really do. They're really, really beautiful people. And what I loved about Germany, I'm going off a little bit on a tangent, but I promise I'm coming back. What I love about the German people is I saw things, saw all different kinds of races getting along. Multiracial kids running in the streets and black men sitting in the table at a cafe with a 70-year-old white woman, and everybody reading their paper and just getting along. The thing that got me all the time with the Germans, or not all the time, I shouldn't say that with every single German. It's not true. But with the older Germans, many of them, not all of them, but many of them carry this burden of the World War II. Now, I'm not saying everybody wasn't an asshat, okay? There were asshats. Were there asshats? Yes, of course there were asshats, okay? But my mother-in-law was like 6 years old, and she was carrying this like this shadow of, and it would keep her in this, I can't be too big, I can't be too much. I can't be too anything. I've got to always mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. It's like, that's not gonna, you gotta move on, man. You were 6 years old. 6 years old. I'm pretty sure you weren't in the Hitler Youth. Okay. I'm pretty sure they weren't taking them that young. I might be wrong. I don't know. Okay. But I'm just saying, it's about owning who you are and standing tall for who you are and not making a mistake. Oh, I'm German. I'm German. What's your background? German. It's like, just own that. You people, you brought like all different kinds of stuff to the world, okay? Not just beer, not just Hitler. You brought other stuff to the world. Own that. You know, I don't know. It's telling a different story. It's letting go of the past, not to forget it, but why it doesn't serve you to sit in it. It's my opinion.
No, it really doesn't. And oftentimes, the story that have you ever had a conversation with somebody that you love you've known them for like ever, and it could be a relative, it could be a sister or brother or a mom or a dad, and you say, "Do you remember the time that?" And they go, "No, I have no idea what you're talking about." And you've carried this moment with you for 10, 20, 30 years, and they don't even remember the moment, and for you it was defining. Have you ever had that? I've had that word, but I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's like that shaped how I felt about myself for 10 years,
Yeah.
and they don't even friggin' remember it.
Yep. I would do that. I would have conversations with my mother a lot of the times. And my mom had, God love her, she was a beautiful woman, she really was, but she also had she would remember stuff when it was convenient for her.
Uh huh.
And it made me, it's hard. It's very difficult, especially when you're a kid, because you want confirmation. And who do you go to get confirmation from? The person you trust the most is your parents, or it should be anyway, if they're not jack offs. But and I learned very early on, and it ate away at my confidence. It really did, because
Oh, sure.
my mom, I would remember something, like, you remember when your ex-boyfriend did this? No, I don't remember that. And you were sitting right there, and you do, and this happened and that happened. You know something? It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. How? Okay, so what do I do with that? My mom's not confirming. I'm remembering this stuff because, honestly, for me, the first I and it was true. It was the first 10 to 14 years of my life was a blank, a
Mhm.
total blank. I didn't remember anything, nothing. My mom, I would look at pictures. I'd be like, I don't remember that. It was a total blank. So what do I do? And then I started to remember stuff, and I wasn't getting the confirmation I needed. I needed to confirm it for myself. I know this happened. It feels right to me. So I'm going to believe it. Sometimes you're the only person you got.
That's it.
Sometimes you're the only person you got. You got to depend on yourself. And if you depend on yourself and then you're dealing with the low self-esteem and not owning who you are and how amazing you are, then you're like, "Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. You're miserable. You're miserable." I was. I was. So it's all this stuff I'm saying. All this stuff I'm saying is what I learned. I didn't come out of my mom's hoo-ha knowing all this stuff. I had to learn this. I had to be retrained with this. I had to go through some painful stuff. But none of this stuff I'm saying, I don't know anything about, or I haven't been there like other people have. That's why I can understand what you're going through. I got it. But I will be here for you when you're ready. But if you're not ready, I'm not taking it on.
It's interesting because one of the things that I laugh at myself about now But when I was like 12 years old, my mom on a Saturday morning would always say, "I want you to clean your room." And so this particular Saturday morning, you know how sometimes you get into cleaning for no other reason than you just get into it and you want to do a really good job. Well, she
Yeah.
went shopping, and I cleaned my room, got the vacuum out, vacuumed everything, put the vacuum away, shut the door, went back to my room. She comes home and puts down her groceries, and I said, "Can I go out and play now?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because you haven't cleaned your room." And I said, "Yes, I did." She said, "No, you didn't. The vacuum's not out."
Ah,
Guess what never gets put away in my house?
the vacuum.
Because it is one of the, and I laugh about it now, but it's one of those things that if you're not careful, the things that the stories that you tend to believe, you can carry them with you and they become part of you, and until you make that decision to change it. And I believe, and then I'll get off my horse, but I believe that God's intention is not for you to settle.
Mm-mm.
God's intention is for you to fly.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think I got the wings? Hello. And again, this is confidence right here. I mean,
Oh
this was
yeah.
second to my first tattoo and my ink. I didn't go for the little bumblebee bee. Like, no, let's do 18 hours worth of just lining it up. Yes. But again, that's just who I am. When I started to own my bigness, and this was really and truly, it was even before the blueprints for people. I really, really started. I've been owning what I do and seeing what I do, um, and really loving what I do, because I think when you own what you do, you love it. You truly. I love what I do. I loved what I did before. Okay, but it felt like I was hitting a glass ceiling, and now I've expanded upwards. Now I'm able to expand upwards with the work I'm doing with people and with animals. It's given me the rocket ship that I can go into the stratosphere with. But I love it. I love it. I think when you really and truly are confident about yourself, I love myself. Do I
Hmm.
have good days and bad days? Yes, of course. Do I have some days that, it's a bad hair day, or moo, I'm a little bloated.
It's been a
Yeah,
while since I've had a bad hair day, but then that's just me.
yes, absolutely. Okay. But I really and truly try not to let it go down the road it used to go down to, which is, self hate and criticism and ugliness and all this kind of stuff. So I'm accepting who I am, the good, the bad, the indifferent. I mean, that's what 2021 is. I have this piece of paper up here and it says 2021 is the year of totally and completely accepting all of me. No right, no wrong, no good, no bad, no judgments of my actions, my feelings, or my decisions. I accept all facets of me, all parts of me, 100% acceptance with no exceptions. That means, if I want to slack off and not do any more work after today, that's my decision. I'm owning that. Okay. This is really and truly, and since I've done this since day one of 2021, and it's so freeing. I know I'm a good person. I'm not going to go out and kill somebody. I'm not going to intentionally go and abuse an animal. So now those actions, yeah, you might want to question them a little bit because they're a little bit shitty. They're a lot shitty. But I know for me, I'm not, why am I spending so much time second guessing my judgments, my feelings, my decisions? My decision is my decision. It felt right at the time. Boom. That's it. Moving on. Let's move on. You
And,
know?
and they're good decisions, and
Sure.
then that's how I met you. Was I was talking with somebody who is on the East Coast. No, you're not. You're in New
Not
Mexico.
anymore, brother.
Yes, and I asked that and she's a psychic, and I won't give her name, but I said, "Are you an animal communicator?" And she said, "No, I don't really do that, but let me tell you who the best in the world is." And she gave me your name, and so I contacted you. And a year later, we've ended up here. Happy anniversary, by the way, of your rebirth.
Oh, thank you.
which happened just, and you can share that if you'd like, even though we're going over time, which we do every week.
Yeah, we should. We
Yeah.
should. Yeah, real quick, and then I'm pretty much done. I think the anniversary of January was when I started my certification. It really started at the end of, or 2 weeks in December, but it was off to the races starting January 1st. Um, so yeah, I mean, and there were times, man, no lie. I mean, that was a lot of information. If you would see just half of the stuff that I printed out, and I still have, there's websites filled with information about the blueprints for people. I mean, there were times that my brain was so overloaded. I was getting triggered by feelings of not being good enough and being overwhelmed. And there were a lot of times that I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this. Seriously, I do not know if I can do this. This is so crazy. We got calls. I'm trying to help 9 other coaches get through. I got to do my work on top of everything else. I'm watching videos, transcribing videos, reading books, being contacted on Facebook Messenger, being contacted through the Facebook group. I'm like, plus I got to do my own stuff. I mean, there were just times that I was just like, I don't know if I could do this. And then I said, no, I'm holding on to that. Like I'm gripping it, okay, with both hands, that knowing that I'm going to bring something amazing to this world. Sometimes that was the only thing that got me going, that helped me put one foot in front of the other. And plus I was also, part-time at Home Depot. I mean, I was crazed. And there was expected work. And boy, man, if you went too far, you lapsed too quickly into that work, it would get overwhelming like that. So I would always keep up. Plus, I also had to be there for my practice partner and doing stuff with her so we could practice on each other. I mean, it was just, when I think about the amount of energy it took to get through this certification, I can't believe I got through it. But I kept holding on to, I am bringing something amazing to this world. Now, if I had lessened that, if I had not owned that, knowing that I was bringing something amazing to this world, I probably would not have gotten through that certification, because I had nothing to hold on to. It's all right. It's good. It's strong work, but it's the work. It's not me. I wouldn't have gone through. I had nothing to hold on to. That was the only thing sometimes I had to hold on to.
Well, for those of you that are listening to the replay of this, I just want to alert you to the fact that every Tuesday at noon Pacific, 1 o'clock Mountain, we will be doing this live, and we've got a whole list of topics that we're going to be discussing, and with conversations with Coryelle.
Yeah.
And I personally, these conversations uprich me to a great degree, because you are so good. If somebody wants to contact you and talk to you, how do they do it?
Go through my website. So it's Coryelle, and the last name is Kramer with a K.com. And take a look at the information that I have on the website. It talks about humans and animals and what I can do for everybody. And then if you need to, you can also message me through Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Pinterest. It's all Coryelle Kramer. So,
and now you're going to find live broadcasts and repeats on YouTube and your Facebook channel. And if you want to go to My Independence Report, you'll see shows that look remarkably similar to this, and including this one, which will be on My Independence Report as well. So I appreciate you, my friend. It's great having you. Any last thing before we go?
I appreciate you, Kevin, and you really seeing how important this work was before I even knew what the work was going to be, really. And you're like, no, we got to do this. We got to bring this to this world. And I was like, okay, I'm on the boat. I'm on the rocket with you, brother. Let's do this. I want to thank you. I want to thank the people who tuned in. Kimberly and Kathy and Rick and the other people who, might have tuned in but didn't comment, or who will tune in later and watch it later. I really and truly appreciate the support. I really and truly appreciate the support. I know that it takes a lot to, you're taking time out of your day, and I can't thank you enough for doing that and for just giving us your time. I know your time's important, and I appreciate that sincerely. I just want people to just think about owning. How can I own what I bring to this world? One little thing today. What can I own and see how amazing it is? See how unique I am. And maybe how I can maybe bring that uniqueness close to me so I can love myself a little bit more. That's what I want to leave people with.
That's awesome. Now we're just beginning this, and we're going to continue this on and on and on. So if you're listening either to this live broadcast or the repeat, tell your friends, like us. Let's get the word out, because Coryelle's got a platform now, which is what I've given her, because she deserves a platform for what she has to say. And we're going to continue it, and it's going to be great fun. I'm looking forward to it. So with that, and My Independence Report's got 182 episodes of different things on it. It's worth going there as well. But you are one of my most favorite people of all time, and you're just doing extraordinary work, and we just love you. So thank you.
And thank you, Susan, for joining in while you're painting. I love you too.
Oh. Well, and I hope that the painting is going well, Susan.
She's an amazing painter. Susan Reed is an amazing painter. You need to look her up.
Yeah, Susan Reed. Maybe we need to put that on your list of somebody to be on the show.
She's incredible. She does dots. Oh,
wow.
I couldn't do it. But
thank you, everybody, and you take care. Have a great day.
Bye.